Hola, mis estudiantes de Español 1. We are ready for our next segment of learning in Lección 1. We finished contextos. There's another assessment piece coming with contextos, but we're still moving into our next segment of learning, which is estructura 1. Estructura stands for our grammar sections. We'll call that estructura. And since this is our first grammar point in Lección 1, this will be estructura 1.1. And the topic is nouns and articles. So you found this video lesson. You should have found the assigned notes sheet. A reminder to complete this note sheet as you're listening to this lesson. Pause the lesson and complete as needed. And don't forget to click Turn In to submit this notes sheet as your assignment with this Google Classroom assignment. Some people aren't turning their notes sheets in on time. You need to show me that you've got the notes so I know you're ready to do your best on the practices that are coming. Okay, la lección de estructura 1.1, nouns and articles en español. Los sustantivos en español. Sustantivo refers to our word en español for noun. Okay, so if I had nouns, los sustantivos. And what are some ejemplos de sustantivos en español? Remember, nouns or sustantivos are names for people, places, or things. So in this case, I'm showing people with los estudiantes and things with the rest. Okay, so let's take a look at some nouns in español or sustantivos. En español, el lápiz. Repitan, el lápiz. Esta es la mesa. Repitan, la mesa. Los estudiantes. Repitan, los estudiantes. Y las computadoras. Repitan, las computadoras. So what we notice about sustantivos that's different in español is that we have what's called artículos. Okay, so I see the el or the la with these two words. And both of those, we'll find out what they mean in English later, but we have different types of articles or artículos with nouns. So we see an el or a la for singular nouns, one thing, and we see a los and a las for plural, words that are plural. Can you think of any articles in English? What do we mean by articles in English? Think about that. Can you come up with examples of articles in English? And we'll see how they compare to español. Okay. Oh, let me erase that. So looking at artículos now, did you make your guess as to what artículos, examples of artículos en inglés? Okay, so en español, we had those artículos el, la, los, and las, and those are 4 words for just one word in English. They all mean the. We call them definite nouns or artículos sustantivos or artículos definidos. And the reason they're definite nouns is because they're referring to one something. Like if I say in English, I have the bottle. Somebody's looking for this bottle and I say, oh, I have the bottle. Then we know that it's just this one thing that they're looking for, right? Or that I have. And later we'll talk about indefinite articles and how that's different, okay? But this is a defined something, a very specific something. The, el, la, los, or las in español. So how do we know which word the to choose to go with a word? Is this a word that uses el la, los, or las to mean the? Well, we'll learn how to choose that in just a momentito. So to start off, hay dos tipos de sustantivos en español. Hay sustantivos masculinos y sustantivos femeninos. Okay, so this is one of the reasons we have so many ways to say the or so many articles, because these words for the or artículos tell me if a word is femenino or masculino. Yes, all objects are femenino or masculino en español, not just people, things too. Interesante, no? Okay, so if I look at this word the word for bottle would be la botella. La botella, okay? And that tells me that that is a singular one thing. So I'm choosing that la. And also it's femenino, okay? So it depends the way that we choose this. If a word or a noun is singular, it's either going to be el if the word is masculino, or la in the case of la botella if it's femenino. Okay, so we have two types of singular articles, el or la. Then we have two types of plural articles. So there's no word thus en español. But if I had las botellas de agua, the water bottles, that's a plural in español. I changed it from la botella to las botellas. And now I'm going to make that plural. So it's like in English, we would be saying those bottles, but we don't make the plural in English. We have to do it, though, in español. Okay, and again, I'm thinking femenino or masculino for my word, and then choose the plural article to match. Okay, so again, we have femenino masculino choice and singular o plural choice when matching an article to a noun. So if I didn't know, if it wasn't shown to me, the el, la, los, or las, how do I know how to match up or decide? How do I know if this word for bottle, botella, is femenino or masculino? There's a little trick, and it doesn't always, there's rule breakers, doesn't always work. But most of the time, if a word ends in a, like botella ends in a, then you're going to use a la to match. Notice the as match. If a word ends in as, las botellas, match it with a las. Okay, then how about the el or los? If it ends in any other letter, then choose el. And if it's a plural, choose los. Okay, so let's look at that example. We have femenino and a singular. So I see ends in a, mesa, match it with a la. Ends in as, las computadoras, match it with a las. Okay, how about masculino? What would that look like? Here's a noun that's masculine. Does it end in a? If your answer is no, match it with an el. It doesn't end in a, but I see an s, so that tells me it's plural. But the letter before it is not an a, so I'm going to match it with a los. Okay, so again, if a word ends in a, match it with la, and as, match it with las. If it ends in anything else, match it with an el. And if it ends with something other than as, match it with a los. All right, how about indefinidos? Indefinidos mean something else in English, but they work just like artículos definidos. Still have the dos tipos de sustantivos, so we're still looking at nouns, and we still have masculino or femenino. Okay, but now indefinite nouns, we're choosing between un or una, which mean a or an, and unos or unas, which means some. So how do I match up an indefinite? Well, why would I choose an indefinite article as opposed to a definite? So remember, the definite articles was that one specific something that someone was looking for. I'm looking for the brown bottle, my brown water bottle. Who has it? Oh, I have the bottle. Okay, so it was just this one definite thing that I was looking for. What if I'm just looking for a bottle of water? I'm really thirsty and I just need a bottle of water. And somebody in my family might say, oh, I have a bottle of water. And so it didn't matter, it was just any bottle of water. Or if I switch to another object, maybe I say, I need the black pencil because it's my favorite pencil. Okay. And so, oh, I have it. But what if I just said, oh, I need a pencil. Then somebody might say, oh, I have a pencil. And so the and some are just any object, okay? Not defined. Could be any pencil at all. So hopefully that helps you to see when we use definite versus indefinite. Okay, so again, choosing, now we have masculino, femenino to match our noun, singular or plural. Okay, I'm gonna say that again. Masculino, femenino, singular o plural. So we're gonna match them up. If a word ends in a and I want an indefinite article, choose una. Same thing happening, our a's match. If it ends in as, choose unas. If a word ends in any other letter, choose un. And if it's plural, match it with an unos. Okay, so we'll do some practice with that this week of matching our el, la, los, or las, un, una, unos, or unas to nouns. Okay, now, as if singular or femenino, masculino wasn't challenging enough, we also are going to learn how to make these nouns plural. So we have sustantivos plurales. If a word ends in a vowel, a, e, I, o, u, just add s. We go from la puerta to las puertas. El libro to los libros. If it ends in a consonant, add es. El cinturón doesn't end in a vowel consonant, add es. Los cinturones. La pared doesn't end in a vowel, ends in a consonant, add es. Las paredes. And our last piece is, what if there's an odd thing in Espanol where if a letter changes or ends in a Z, we change the Z to C and add es. So for that word for el lápiz, to make it plural, los lápices, drop the Z, change it to C, and add es. Or the word for cross, the symbol cross, la cruz, change the Z to a C and add es. Eso es todo. Terminamos la lección de estructura 1, listos para practicar la información. Adiós.